The elevator groaned like a dying animal every time it moved. Clara had learned to read its moods: the shudder before the fourth floor, the hesitation between floors, the way the doors required a firm slap to open properly. It was the only way in or out of her flat, unless she wanted to attempt 4 flights of stairs in a wheelchair. Which she didn't. The building was old. Not charming old, not historic old. Just old. Tired. The paint in the hallway curled away from the walls in brittle scrolls, revealing layers of colors beneath: green, then yellow, then something brown that might have been fashionable once. Small leaks from ancient pipes had left water stains on the ceiling like maps of forgotten countries. Occasionally, she'd catch movement from the corner of her eye and know a mouse had scurried behind the baseboards. She'd lived here before the accident, cheap enough that her disability payments could cover it. She hadn't noticed the gloom. Or maybe she had, and it had matched something inside her. The students moved in on a Tuesday. Clara heard them before she saw them: laughter echoing up the stairwell, music thumping through the floorboards, doors slamming at all hours. The flat below hers had been empty for months. Now it was alive with the sounds of people who still believed they were invincible. That night, she didn't sleep. At 2 a.m., someone's bass was vibrating through her mattress. At 3, there was shouting celebratory, not angry, but loud enough to wake the dead. At 4, just as things quieted, a door slammed hard enough to rattle her windows. She lay in the dark, staring at the ceiling, and thought about the silence she'd known before. The silence of a hospital room at 3 a.m. The silence of her own scream, trapped inside a body that wouldn't respond. Morning came gray and cold. She took the elevator down at 9, her wheelchair's wheels catching on the threshold. The 4th floor hallway was empty, the paint peeling as always. But the 3rd floor hallway, when she reached it, smelled like stale beer and cigarette smoke. Their door was slightly ajar. She knocked firm, angry, the knock of someone who hasn't slept and wants you to know it. The door opened. He was young. 20, maybe. Dark hair falling into tired eyes. He wore a wrinkled t-shirt and looked like he'd just woken up. "Yeah. Your party," she said, her voice sharper than she intended. "Last night. The noise, I couldn't sleep. I'm on the 4th floor, and..." He blinked. "Party. Don't play innocent. The music, the shouting, I just got back." He ran a hand through his hair. "Train from my hometown, got in at 6 this morning. I haven't even been inside this flat since Sunday." He glanced behind him, at the mess visible through the doorway. "Looks like they had fun without me." Clara stopped. The anger drained out of her, leaving exhaustion in its place. "Oh. Yeah." He leaned against the door frame. "Look, I'm sorry. My flatmates are assholes. I'll talk to them." But he hesitated. "You look like you could use coffee. I just made some. If you want." She should say no. Should go back upstairs, close her door, retreat into her silence. But the coffee smelled good, and she was so tired, and his eyes were kind. "Okay," she said. His name was Janus. He was studying architecture, hated his flatmates, and made coffee strong enough to strip paint. They sat in the messy kitchen, her wheelchair at the end of a scarred wooden table, and talked for an hour. "You live alone?" he asked. "Yes." "That's..." He stopped, seemed to reconsider. "I mean, with the chair, is it sorry? That's rude." "Forget I asked." "No, it's fine." She wrapped her hands around her mug. "It's hard sometimes. But I manage." He nodded, not pushing. She appreciated that. When she finally left, he helped her with the elevator door, that firm slap it needed, and waved as it closed between them. They ran into each other constantly after that. In the hallway, where he was taking out trash. near the stairs, where he was sitting with a textbook, escaping his flatmates. In front of the building, where she sometimes sat in the weak sun. Then he knocked on her door. "Ran out of sugar," he said, holding up an empty bag. "Baking experiment gone wrong. You have any?" She did. She gave it to him. He stayed for tea. A few days later, she knocked on his. "My shelf," she said, the one in her kitchen that had fallen down. "You mentioned you had tools." He fixed it in 10 minutes. Stayed for dinner. The noises continued. Parties from other flats. Renovation sounds, drilling, hammering, the screech of metal at odd hours. Clara started investigating. She went to the flat above hers, but found out had been empty for years, sealed off by the city. The one beside it, the tenants claimed to be at work during the times she heard the sounds. "I don't understand," she told Janice one evening, frustration bleeding into her voice. "I hear them. I hear them. But no one's there." He leaned against her kitchen counter, watching her with those kind eyes. "Maybe it's the building. Old places make sounds. Pipes, settling. This isn't settling." She wheeled past him, agitated. "It's music. It's people working. It's..." She stopped. "You think I'm crazy? I think you're alone too much." He said it gently, not cruel. "I think your brain is looking for patterns, and sometimes it finds them where they don't exist." She wanted to argue. But she was so tired. So tired of the noises, the sleepless nights, the memories that crept in when she least expected them. He crossed the small space, knelt beside her chair. His hand covered hers, warm and solid. "Clara. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying maybe let me help you figure it out. Together." She looked at him, his earnest face, his messy hair, his willingness to kneel on her dirty floor just to be at her level. "Together," she repeated. He nodded. And then, because the space between them had grown too small for anything else, she leaned forward and kissed him. Dash. It was slow, that first kiss. Questioning. But when she didn't pull away, he deepened it, his hand sliding into her hair, her fingers gripping his shirt. The bed was in the next room. He lifted her from the chair carefully, asking permission with every movement, and laid her on the faded quilt. The afternoon light through her dirty windows was grey and soft. They undressed each other with the awkward tenderness of new lovers. His body was young, unmarked. Hers bore the scars of the accident, the long surgical line on her hip, the wasted muscles of her legs. He kissed each one, and she let him. When they came together, it was quiet. No grand passion, no fireworks. Just two people holding onto each other in the grey afternoon, trying to feel less alone. Afterward, she lay with her head on his chest, listening to his heartbeat slow. "Thank you," she whispered. "For what?" "For not making me feel crazy." He kissed her hair. "You're not crazy. You're just dealing with a lot." She closed her eyes, let herself rest in the warmth of him. Dash. He left when the evening came, kissing her at the door, promising to return. She wheeled back to her bedroom, meaning to change the sheets, meaning to start dinner. But something stopped her. A sound. Faint, but unmistakable. A song. She knew it. Knew the opening chords, the rhythm, the way the guitar built. It was playing somewhere below her, above her, inside her walls. She couldn't tell. And suddenly, she wasn't in her flat anymore. She was in the car. The sun was in her eyes. Her hand was reaching for the radio, turning it up because she loved this song. And then metal screaming, glass exploding, the world turning over and over, and the song stopped. Clara sat in her bedroom, shaking, the memory receding like a wave. The car radio. That's what had been playing. That day. Just before she wheeled into the hallway, heart pounding. The building was silent. But in her mind, other sounds were surfacing. The drilling, the hammering, the screech of metal. Not renovations. Firefighters. Opening the wreck. Cutting her out. The noises weren't parties. They weren't renovations. They were memories, trapped in the old building's bones, bleeding through the walls like water through a leaky pipe. She sat in the dim hallway, the paint curling around her, and for the first time in 3 years, she understood. She hadn't been hearing the building. She'd been hearing herself.